He entered the world as a miracle, promised long before his mother's womb ever felt life. His parents, old and frail, had given up on the hope of a child, yet on a quiet night in their desert tent, the promise came alive. His birth became a sign to the whole household. The covenant lives on. Imagine a young boy, his heart full of trust, his spirit gentle and obedient. He's the kind of son every father dreams of, quick to listen and eager to please. One morning, his father's voice cuts through the early light, calling him for a journey. A journey to the mountains. Without a single question, without a moment's hesitation, the boy follows. His small hand fits perfectly in his father's, a symbol of the unwavering bond they share. As they walk, the world seems to hold its breath. The path winds upward, leaving the familiar behind. The boy carries the wood, his father the fire and the knife. He notices something is missing. "Father," he asks, his voice clear and innocent, "we have the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the offering?" It's a simple question, born of faith, not doubt. His father's reply is steady, reassuring, "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." The words hang in the air, a promise and a prophecy. They climb higher, they are growing thin, the silence deepening. They are alone, just the two of them, under the vast, open sky. This is no ordinary trip. This is a pilgrimage of the soul. The boy doesn't know it yet, but this journey, this climb, is about to test the very foundation of his existence, the sacred covenant that brought him into this world. Every step forward is a step into the unknown, a test of faith so profound it will echo through eternity. He just keeps walking, trusting the Father who leads him up the lonely mountain. What will they find at the summit? Not just a peak, but a revelation that will forever define what it means to believe. Years passed, and the boy was a boy no more. He had grown into a man, but not the kind the world expected. In an age of clashing swords and roaring warriors, he was a silent river flowing through a parched land. He stood tall, not with the arrogance of a conqueror, but with the quiet strength of an ancient tree, its roots dug deep into the earth. While others sought glory on the battlefield, he found his purpose in the gentle rhythm of everyday life. He didn't raise his voice in anger or his fist in conflict. Instead, he chose peace when others screamed for war. He found solace in prayer when others were lost in heated arguments. He offered kindness where others sowed seeds of pride and division. Many of his peers mocked him. They called him weak, a man unfit for a world built on strength and dominance. They couldn't understand how a man could turn away from a fight, how he could value a helping hand over a clenched fist. But he paid them no mind. His path was different, guided by a compass that pointed not toward power, but toward purpose. His household, once a small and simple place, began to change. Under his gentle hand, it flourished. Laughter echoed in halls where tension once lingered. The fields yielded abundant harvests, not because they were forced, but because they were tended with care. His family and those who worked alongside him felt a sense of security and belonging that no fortress could provide. They saw that his strength wasn't in his ability to destroy, but in his power to build, to nurture, and to heal. He became a living testimony, a quiet revolution in a loud world. He proved that true survival wasn't about being the loudest or the strongest. It was about having a purpose that nourished the soul and lifted others up. His life was a message, whispered on the wind for all who would listen. Gentleness is not weakness, and true power lies in the heart that chooses kindness. In every generation, there are voices that rise above the noise, not with a shout, but with a quiet strength that commands attention. This is the story of such a man. A man whose wisdom became the bedrock of his community. In his youth, he was like any other, full of vigor and ambition. He learned the ways of the land, the rhythms of the seasons, and the hearts of his people. But as the years passed, something profound began to shift. The lines on his face deepened, not with worry, but with the etchings of 1,000 lessons learned. His hair turned the color of winter snow, a crown of experience earned through a lifetime of observation and reflection. It was then that people truly began to listen. His voice, once quick and eager, had mellowed into a steady, thoughtful cadence. It wasn't the force of his words that drew them in, but the unmistakable weight of wisdom they carried. He spoke not of conquests or riches, but of patience, of understanding, and of the enduring power of faith. He taught that true strength wasn't found in a clenched fist, but in an open hand. His small tent, once just a humble dwelling, slowly transformed into a sanctuary of counsel. A young couple, their hearts heavy with disagreement, would enter his tent and leave with their hands clasped, their spirits renewed. A father, worried for his son's future, would share his fears and depart with a clear path forward, his anxieties calmed by the elder's gentle guidance. A leader, facing a difficult decision that would affect the entire tribe, would sit with him for hours, absorbing the simple yet profound truths he shared. He never claimed to have all the answers. In fact, his greatest lesson was humility. He listened more than he spoke, his gaze patient and kind. He saw the best in everyone, reflecting their own potential back at them. He became more than just an elder, he was a patriarch, a living embodiment of the peace he preached. His presence was a constant reminder that in a world often swayed by force and ambition, the most powerful legacy is one built on wisdom, faith, and a humble heart. His voice became the tribe's compass, guiding them toward a future of unity and harmony. In the quiet twilight of his years, with the world outside fading into a gentle hum, one memory stood sharp and clear. He remembered the rugged climb up a lonely mountain, the weight of the wood on his young back, and the unwavering faith in his father's eyes. He recalled the surreal moment when the sky itself seemed to part, a voice thundering from the heavens, staying the hand that held the knife. His life, a gift spared at the very last second, was a testament to a promise made between his father and God. That day on Mount Moriah was not an end, but a profound beginning. It was the moment the covenant was sealed not just in word, but in his very being. He was the child of the promise, the living proof of a miracle. He grew into a man not of conquest or war, but of quiet strength and profound peace. While others dug wells of strife, he dug wells of water, bringing life to the parched land. His existence was a steady, flowing river, a stark contrast to the turbulent world around him. He found love in a distant land, a partner chosen by Providence, and together they built a home. His life wasn't filled with dramatic battles or grand pronouncements, but with the daily, steadfast act of living faithfully. He was a man who listened more than he spoke, who planted more than he uprooted, and who understood that the greatest strength lies in gentleness and perseverance. He was a bridge between a legendary father and a future nation. Now, with his own eyes dimmed by age and his steps slowed, it was his turn. The sacred responsibility that had been placed on his shoulders all those years ago was ready to be passed on. He gathered his sons, the scent of the flock and the earth clinging to them. With hands that trembled not from fear but from the weight of generations, he laid them upon his chosen heir. It was more than a father's simple blessing. In that touch, he transferred the awesome weight and wondrous hope of the covenant. He passed on the promise of a land that would flow with milk and honey, the promise of a lineage as numerous as the stars in the night sky, and the most precious promise of all, the unwavering presence of God. He had entered the world as a miracle, a laughter-filled answer to a lifetime of prayer. He lived as a man of peace, a quiet patriarch in a boisterous age, and he departed as a faithful steward. A crucial link in a divine chain, ensuring the promise given on a lonely mountain would echo through eternity. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the quieter strengths of humanity. See you next time.